All right, so Tyler and
Hayden.
Hayden, we are going to be discussing the assignment in which we had to watch a video in 3 different settings. The first one, we had to have a TV in the background. Second situation, we either had to be making food or scrolling through social media. And the third situation was when we'd actually focus on the video. We both watched the first 5 minutes of the video, so ideally we will discuss the same points.
Yeah.
For situation one, the TV. So one thing that I noticed was it was kind of hard to hear the video while the TV was on. I think there were certain points where it was kind of like overlapping.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think for me it was kind of a lot of, it was just hard to kind of turn my listening on and off to the different things that I was paying attention to.
Right.
Yeah, I was watching golf this weekend, and that's kind of, it was, parts of it were easy to kind of tune out and listen to the video, but other parts were, it was just kind of me just zoning into the game that I was watching.
Right, yeah. And like more to go off that too, like he said he was watching golf, which is kind of like more of a quiet show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I was watching The Office or something.
Yeah.
Right? So it was kind of like there's different points in there where it's kind of like much louder in general. And, I'm also a big fan, so it's kind of like, my attention definitely wasn't on the video for the most part. For the second situation, I think we both were looking through our social media.
I was kind of doing both. I was like not dual tasking. I was like tri-tasking. I was cooking dinner. I was scrolling through my phone, and I had that playing on my computer in the background. So
right. So yeah, as I was saying, yours was almost exactly like in the background. Yeah. Right. So one thing that I noticed, which you probably noticed too, is like when the attention was changing from like having something in my hand, which for you, right? When you would put it down, there's also that time where like you have to put it down and then like go back and start like taking your notes. Mm-hmm. And I felt like during that time I was also missing another like 5-10 seconds, right?
Yeah. There were just little gaps, like, and part of me wanted to say, oh wait, crap, I missed that. Here, let's rewind. What did I miss? Oh, okay. They're talking about range of motion now. Wait, they were just talking about her rating of pain. So it was just like little lapses and that kind of stuff. But
sure, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Then obviously for the last situation was when we had full attention. So I felt the notes were much better as we went through here.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like me personally, like my list of notes just steadily kind of increased as I went through every situation.
Yeah, I think especially from like 2 to 3, like from making food to completely listening. Yeah, it like doubled.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, it was a crazy increase.
So next we're going to discuss kind of what we felt the purpose of this activity was.
I just think it's interesting because I think the purpose of this assignment was to just kind of show us that in the clinical setting we're going to need to really tune out everything and pay attention to what our patients are saying so that we can really be able to provide the best care for them, and and that just comes with like listening and hearing everything that they said.
Yeah, I definitely noticed. I felt like even the smallest of like a distraction. So like to me, I felt like when I was going through it, the TV wasn't going to be that much of a challenge. But like looking back, it was pretty crazy to see like how difficult it was to really try and like focus on 2 things at once. So it was really eye-opening to me that it's definitely like what Hayden was saying is it's all about listening and staying focused on your patient, because there's a lot of cues too, I felt like, when she kind of was like, oh, like I hurt my shoulder, but she grabs like the front of her shoulder, right? She doesn't say that. Yeah. And if you weren't really focused, you're not going to maybe pick up on that.
Right.
So it's kind of just like small things.
And I think another part to that is that it could, if you're really paying attention and looking for the cues, you can really pick up on the psychological aspect of the injury. So you can really see if it's really taking a mental toll on the patient or not, and kind of gauge their mental feeling toward it.
Right, and kind of just going off of that, we already somewhat discussed the differences in the situations, but I think we both agreed that the main difference was just kind of as the situation progressed, like number-wise. the distraction was less.
Yeah.
In a sense, I could maybe see 1 and 2 kind of being the same because like I felt like it was pretty hard.
Yeah.
But I also felt like I still had more notes, but that was also the second time watching it, so I feel like there's a degree there where it's like did hear it once already.
Yeah, definitely.
So like the things that we heard
Yeah.
maybe tuned out a little bit more.
No, yeah, definitely.
Right. And kind of also talked about how this activity made us feel.
Yeah.
But just to reiterate, for me personally, I just thought it was very eye-opening. As I said before, it was literally just a small distraction can be such a big difference.
Yeah, and it's kind of it was kind of reaffirming because in all my observation hours and clinical observation, I think just in the evaluations that I've been a part of, it's completely different than treatment and rehab and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy. Like the athletic trainers that I shadowed just tuned everything out when they were evaluating.
Right.
I mean, and obviously they would like look and say, well, hey, okay, I'm going to do this. All right, we're moving into range of motion. All right, we're going to do this. But for the most part, it was just completely tuned out and just solely on the patient and just what the patient needs at that time.
And I think that's going to be a skill that we're going to learn. I feel like it's almost like a switch.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely points where it's like if you're putting on a heat pad, right, like focus on them, get the heat pad on them. Then when they have their couple minutes, right, you might be able to shift your attention to setting something else up. But like in that time, that's where those like little conversations and things like that can happen. But I definitely understand like what you're saying. It's like that focus is like there, and that's like really needed.
Yeah.
Especially in like what we're trying to do. Definitely. So the last part of this video is just kind of what we feel like we learned that we can take into clinicals, and I think we just kind of hit on it.
Yeah, we just kind of cracked it.
But just to reiterate, it's just really having that mental switch to make sure you're really focused on your patient to provide that care that they're like entrusting you to give them.
Yeah, because like I know for me, like I'm a social butterfly. Like I'm gonna talk to everybody.
Sure.
So I think it's really going to be a challenge for me to be able to find that switch and just be able to turn it off and just focus solely on one person. Because I do get easily distracted. Like I know in a lot of conversations I'll have with people, I'll like see something in the background and that'll distract me.
Sure.
But like I'm going to need to be, I think that's going to be a skill that I'm going to need to tune and develop a little bit more.
I completely agree. That's our reflection.